அப்படியே இருக்கு.
Today we're going on to the second session of value education. Day before yesterday we saw our first three units. Today we are going for the fourth and the fifth unit. The fourth unit talks about environment and how the conservation of environment is very necessary for all of us. This environment unit, I'm not going to touch upon too much because in your second year, you've already studied environmental studies. So I will just skip through this environmental unit and then we'll talk more about the fifth unit of the social evils. So in this fourth unit about environmental consciousness, we talk about what is ecological balance, what is the need for ecological balance, and why human beings and the environment should go sync together and work side by side. These are some things that are certain things that you're going to look into in this fourth unit. So ecological balance is the biological term that is used to describe in an ecosystem where the species, which are all the species that are there in the system, coexist. Coexist means you are living side by side. For example, suppose I want to give an example of an ecological balance, I can talk about the prey and predator. Prey is, for example, a deer is a prey and a lion is a predator. Both the prey and predator exist in the same system. If you have to have a balance, for example, suppose you have this population of the deer is high, then the predator has lot of food to feed upon and therefore it thrives. So it has food, so it is able to eat food and then it thrives. As the lion keeps on hunting the deer population keeps coming down. After some time, the lions have to fight for the deer because the deer population has come down. So in this case, what happens now? The predator population comes down. When the predator population comes down, because the lions are not hunting the deer population starts going up. So this is a cycle where both the prey and the predator exist side by side, or we call they are coexisting in the ecological system. Now, all the beings, be it human being or your trees or your animals, all of them depend on the environment to supply them with whatever they need to exist. Be it food, water, air, shelter, whatever it is, the environment supplies them for their existence. So it is very necessary for all of us to maintain the environmental condition for sustainability. So we have to take care to maintain our environment properly. For example, suppose what happens if you are not maintaining or abiding by the rules of nature? Why is it necessary for us to bind with the nature and exist? For example, you all would have been aware of the 2015 floods. Chennai was flooded. Everywhere, the fury of water, Chennai experienced that. It was surrounded by water, all the areas. Why this happened? Because the natural lakes that were there in Chennai, all of them were blocked and buildings were raised on those lakes. So water did not have its natural course to flow through, so it had to flow in a different direction and thereby affected the residents. So it is not the place of residents there, it was actually the way the water had to flow naturally. We had blocked it by putting up residents and concrete buildings. The water could not flow properly. Therefore, the residents were affected. So we always have to respect the nature. If not, what happens? The flood situation showed us very correctly. If we do not respect nature, then we have to face the fury of nature and we will be facing a great loss there. So always, we as human beings, we have to respect nature, do our best to maintain the ecological balance, and then therefore leading to our sustainability. A very important cause of your floods and fury is nothing but deforestation. Deforestation is nothing but a cutting of trees on the large scale. So if we stop deforestation and start afforestation is planting trees. So always to maintain environment or to have a consciousness about environment, we should stop deforestation and start afforestation. You might wonder why should I do this? What is the necessity for me? But as a citizen, for us to exist peacefully here, we have to be environmental conscious, because this environmental conservation leads you to different things. Because when you are conscious about your environment, the way where you live, then you are able to understand what is the importance of agriculture. Then you will be able to understand the change in the climate, because it follows from the trees that are there, the surroundings. So what is the change? Namely, your global warming is one of the great causes that we are seeing. So you'll be able to understand the change in climate. And then when you understand this, the way you protect or you conserve your environment, you lead to activities that improve the quality of water, and then improves the quality of air, and preserves biodiversity. So all these are sequences that follow your environmental conservation. This only with these topics I'm skipping and then going on to your fifth unit. The fifth unit talks about social evils. Social evils, for example, if the evils that exist around you, we might not be aware, we not be experiencing these evils, but they are there around you. If you want to say in Tamil, Samuga Anidi, that is what I'm going to talk about. The social evils are evils that are prevailing in the society. These are what hinder the progress of any human being. There are a lot of social evils. I think you also can think of some of them. Like you can have corruption is there, violence against women, caste system, poverty, dowry system, infanticide, female infanticide and feticide, illiteracy, etc. These are some social evils. Now, when you talk about it in general, we can go on to each one of them, each social evil. Let us discuss in both. The first one, let us talk about corruption. You all are aware of it. Corruption, you have seen in so many films, you have come across all this. Corruption is nothing but dishonest behavior of a person. It is not, it is like you are expected to do a duty. It has to be done by you, but then you expect favor to do your duty. For example, if you have a government official who has to pass a file, then his duty is to go through the file, note down whatever is there, and then pass it on to the higher authority for approval. That is his duty. He is being paid a salary by the government to do discharge his duty. But in the place, instead of discharging his duty as usual, if he expects favoritism, that is, he asks for favor in return. It might be cash or it might be kind. So he expects something from you to pass your file or to take your whatever you have submitted. If he wants that, then that is called corruption. So corruption is nothing. It is a dishonest means that you are expecting favor. You have to do it. It is your duty. But to do that duty, when you expect somebody to pay you in kind or cash or something else, then you become a corrupt person there. Okay. So even if it is, you need not say corruption is this way. There is another way of viewing corruption also. The elections that you can take, for example, if you take the elections into consideration, you have so many parties. We hear it saying that the parties are offering money to cast vote in their favor, in the favor of the party. Now, the duty of a citizen is to cast his vote. It is his duty and also his right. He has to look at the party that is contesting and the candidates that have been put up, and then he has to weigh the pros and cons of the candidate, and then he has to come to a conclusion to which party he has to vote. But for that, if you to discharge your duty, to cast your vote, you accept money for that, then that is also corruption. It is not that only you are paying somebody, that person receives and he is a corrupt person, but when you are doing it to discharge your duty, in this case, you are also becoming a corrupt person. This also happens a lot of times in our society. And then you can think what corruption is there, what can I do? No, our duty is to discharge whatever is our duty, but you should not expect anything. And also, when you see something which is not according to the rules, or if you feel a person is corrupt, you have to raise your voice. That also is your duty. It is not Whatever I have to do, if I discharge my duty, I'm not a corrupt person. That alone does not stop. Here you have a responsibility. What is your responsibility? Whenever you see a social evil like this, which is happening around you, you should raise your voice and you say, yes, this is not correct. You are a corrupt individual and you should try to save the society. You should not think, I'm just one single person. What will I do if I raise my voice? What happens? No. One person, one time, then you talk 2 or 3 times. Probably one more person will join you, and then later on it becomes a crowd. Surely somebody has to always listen to a crowd. So it starts small, but it grows big as people keep on joining your movement. You will gain crowd, you will gain popularity, and whatever you're striving for will surely occur. So it is our duty to think of corruption is there. It is a part and parcel of our life. How will it affect the society? Yes, corruption is like a small virus which spreads throughout the society, and then it demoralizes everybody and shakes the foundation of the society. For example, you think of a person who's coming to a job by paying a bribe. He is not qualified for that job, but because he's paid somebody, he's come to that position. If he's not qualified, how can he discharge his duty? If he's not discharging his duty to his full capability, and what will be the outcome? The outcome will surely affect the society. So, if this particular part where a person is appointed, because though he does not have qualification, will also lead to the disintegration of the society. So, it is our duty to fight against corruption. And then another part, you can look it from another part also. Suppose you have a person who has come to a position by paying bribe. For example, suppose you have a minister. A minister or MLA. You have come across such situations, you have read in books, you have read in the paper, or you've seen on TV news that a person has accepted bribe to come to a particular position. So he has spent money, lots of money. Then what happens once he comes to a position of power? What do you think his activity will be? He will surely want to get back the money that he spent to come to that particular position. So he will only be concentrating on getting back the money spent by him, but not on discharging his duty correctly. So what happens once again? We stand to lose in the society. If a minister or MLA does not discharge his duty in unbiased manner, then the society will not progress. And as we are the part of the society, and we are the receiving end of the society, we should see to it that the correct people who will discharge their duty properly take a powerful position. So that is why corruption should be avoided. And also, it leads to economic loss and concentration of wealth. That is, there's an imbalance in your wealth. So when you keep on paying bribe, what happens? One particular person keeps on receiving it. That means his wealth keeps accumulating. Hoarding of money, black money, that is what comes here. So in this case, when the money is being paid as corruption or in your kind or cash, whatever it is, a person on one particular scale, he keeps on becoming rich, whereas the other end keeps on becoming poor. So what happens after some time? There is a restlessness in society because the scale is tipping towards one end. One end is going lower and lower, the other end is going higher and higher. After some time, what happens? Though it is small, it is very tenacious. It spread very fast like a virus, and it will disintegrate the whole society. And when you say, for example, suppose it might also affect your judicial system because corruption does not stop here. This particular system is not, there will not be any corrupt individual. So if you think of a judicial system, a judicial person who is corrupt, then imagine whatever the verdicts that are passed, it is not in a correct manner. You do not receive. That is what happens. When a corrupt person comes and sits at the place where he is going to give one statement or he is going to say something, this is what he is going to declare a judgment. If that particular person is corrupt, then surely his judgment is going to be biased, and you will not get any proper judgment from that. So that also you should avoid here, even the judicial system or anybody, say your police or judicial system. If anybody is corrupt there, then the whole point, you will not receive justice at any point, and this will also lead to unrest among the society. And then here, another part of corruption is it leads to organized crime. For example, when a person starts hoarding money, when he has lots of money, probably he would like to extract money from others. If he wants to extract money from others, then he has to have people who will work under him to say threaten people and get money. So what happens in this case? Organized crime comes into picture. This also leads to once again an unrest. Corruption also leads to human rights violation because, as I said earlier, you have a universal declaration of human rights. There are certain things we have been stated that these are the rights of citizen. Each and every citizen, it does not depend upon the country, the class, or the creed to which you belong, but you are eligible to certain rights. So when there is corruption existing, what happens? Human rights violation occurs. Because when you say, when you go to a judicial system, you represent for you do not receive justice, means what happens? I am not eligible for what I am. But as I can, there is an article which states that everybody will receive impartially, they will be able to receive judgment. In that case, when there is a human rights violation, I do not receive what I am getting. So the corruption leads to even your human rights of violation. The next part that we talk about social evil is cyber crime. The cyber crime is also known as computer crime because the crime that is executed mostly depends upon your computer. So this is called also a computer crime. This computer crime, it is used for so many things. It is used for your piracy at your ATM, so for fraud, unauthorized withdrawal. So many things are up here. This all of hacking, all of them come under computers, computer cyber crime. That you at one end, if you have an internet, then the whole world is open to you. If you have slightly a crooked brain, then it is that the whole world is available to you to commit fraud. This is what is your cyber crime. Now, we have, for example, if you want to talk about this, we have something earlier we had in Facebook. You know, Facebook is a very popular social media, and in this social media, among 500 million people, their accounts were hacked. All their personal data was taken. And probably this data could have been used by people otherwise. So this particular part is called a cyber crime. When you hack into somebody's account and take their data and use it for yourself for illegal means, then that is called hacking. So this one example of hacking that I have given. Now there are different types of cyber crime. We see what each one is. First one is identity threat and invasion of privacy. So, if, for example, suppose I want to explain this part. In the United States of America, they have something called Social Security number. So, if you are able this with Social Security number, or everything, your bank account, your driving license, your passport, everything is attached to your Social Security number. So if a person is able to hack into an individual's account and is able to take his personal social security number, then the whole thing is open to him. He can change the bank account, whatever mail ID or address is given in the bank account. With the help of it, he can apply for new driving license, and then he can change the passport. Everything can be done, and lot of crimes can be committed without the person whose social security number is there. He will not even be aware that everything is happening for his social security number. A lot of things would have occurred. Unaware to this individual, so many things will be happening. His bank account would have been hacked. Whatever money was there, his bank account would have been still remain unaware. So this is called this one threat, which you have identity threat, and it is the invasion of privacy. Next is internet fraud. This one famous thing is your Nigeria case it occurred. That is what happens here is you might receive a person might receive a mail saying that we are from Nigeria and we want to move funds, but we are not able to move it. So we need your help. For us to move this, please credit some amount from your side. You have to credit some amount to some account. So if a person is greedy, what happens? Without verifying all this, they might transfer the amount. Excuse me. So what happens is, and then it will not stop at that particular point. It will keep on continuing. That is, first time they might ask an amount, second time it will keep on going, the threat will continue, and the person might finally become bankrupt also. This is one case of internet fraud. Another one is ATM. You know what is ATM? Automated teller machine. So lot of people have met with this ATM fraud. I think if you are familiar, if you are you watch lots of Tamil films, you will have seen one film, Irumbuthire, also it is based only on this ATM fraud. What happens is when a person inserts his debit card or a withdrawal, when he credit for withdrawal, there might be a chip in that particular, somebody might have installed earlier, they might be able to read your PIN number. You know that the PIN number is very important to withdraw money. So if a person is able to get your PIN number, then with the help of it, he can take all the money from your account. So this kind of things they do, this is your ATM withdrawal. They try to take their PIN number, and with the help of this PIN number, they withdraw the amount from your account, and they are finally, unknown to you, all your money will be withdrawn. This one particular case of your cyber crime. Next up, file sharing and piracy we have. This, I think, because this internet age and all of you should know this, all of you are aware of this. You can see that a film which is released earlier in the theater, that day night itself, or the previous day night itself, you can see it on the internet. That is nothing but piracy. The producer has made it, and somebody's distributor has paid money, and then the theaters have taken it for screening. But what happens because of piracy, the whole thing is downloaded and is available for everybody to watch from their living room without any cost. So this is called piracy. This also is a cyber crime. And next is hacking. Hacking is, like I told you earlier, how the Facebook account was hacked. And here I will give an example for how it started. It was started with one student in Cornell University. It is called freaks, phone freaks. It is a combination of the word phone and freaks. Phone, phone, freaks, freaks. So their term law, their coined is phreeks. What So what happened here is the telephone networks they were hacked here, and then when they were hacked, people unauthorized calls were made. So a lot of money was lost from accounts because of this unauthorized money. Computer viruses. Sorry, I should have told this to Cornell University here. Computer viruses, these are some virus malware which is released into your system, and the computer system fully shuts down. Okay, this is what this one particular case. This started for one particular student. He started in Cornell University started. That is, there was some loophole in the mail, and he created a virus, and the program, when it was sent, what happened? Auto-generated, he keeps on releasing. Duplication happened. So what actually, according to him, what he wanted to do was, he wanted to give replication only in his system, but the virus was so strong, what happened? Whichever system it went, it started replicating, and finally, a number of systems were, all of them broke down there. So this is another kind of cyber crime that we can come across. So whenever you open a mail, or sometimes it might come virus detected. So you have to be very careful before you open your mail, because in that case, if you ignore the message and probably go ahead and open the mail, and then you might lose your system fully might shut down, and you might also lose lots of important data. Next one is you have female feticide and infanticide. So there are two words that I've written there: female feticide and infanticide. There's a difference between this feticide and infanticide. Fetus means the child, the baby that is there in the womb of a mother, the uterus. So female feticide is technological advancement. Now people are able to see what is the sex of the child in the womb itself. So when people see that this is a female child, they try to kill it in the mother's womb. That is, when it is in a fetus state, they try to kill it. Then this is called female feticide. Female infanticide is once the child is born, when they see it is a girl child, then they kill it by some measure. There are a lot of things people do. By that, they kill the child. This is called female child. This is called female infanticide. Both the things are very, very, very prevalent earlier. It is still there, but it was prevalent very everywhere in the society some years back. Now, why do people say only a girl child has to be killed, both either in the mother's womb or
this one? It is because of the stigma in the society that is which is imposed on a girl child. For example, you can say people have this that when a hand is given away by marriage, they have to spend a lot of money. They have to give the dowry, they have to give money, they have to give jewels, they have to give something to the bridegroom. So many things are demanded from the bridegroom side as dowry. So in this case, what happens, parents feel if you have a girl child and if you are not able to afford all this, and if you then probably you will not give your hand, the hand of your girl child into a nice person. So what happens? To go instead of going through all this at a later stage. Let us know the first stage is let us finish it off. So whenever they do either female feticide or female infanticide occur. So in this case, so this is very prevalent earlier. Now because of the awareness created by all of them and the Save the Girl Child program that the government, both the state and central are coming up with, people have at least realized that a girl child is actually a positive thing for the family, but still it goes on. But it's an evil which has to be stopped right now. Next one, alcoholism, drug abuse, and then terrorism. All these are also social abuse. Your alcoholism or drugism is nothing but drug addiction is excessive use of alcohol or drug is called that alcoholism or a drug addiction. So everything there is a limit. If you cross that limit, then it becomes it becomes a disease to you. That's what is alcoholism and your drug addiction or drug addiction. So what happens in alcoholism is you are not able to control the feeling of you have to have something after a particular time. You feel I need it. The body craves for alcohol or drug after some time, and these are because of the influence of these things, your alcohol or drug addiction, people enact certain things or they commit crimes that they are not even aware, or certain things that they might not do if they are in a normal stage. You might not go and take somebody's money or you might not kill somebody, but when you are under the influence of a drug or you have taken alcohol, you probably are not aware of what state of mind you are, and you try to become like a hero and start doing things which is not your natural self. So when you do all this, you commit so many crimes, and later on you might be punished. But at that particular point, already the crime has been committed. Somebody would have lost their life, or even that person itself would have lost their life because of excessive drug use. So this kind of social issue also, this social evil has also to be avoided. And terrorism, I think we day in and day out, whenever we open the newspaper throughout the world, we come across this word terrorism. For every basis, for no reason or very small things that we think is very important to us. We are not looking at the larger picture, but we are going in for terrorism. We try to use terror as a weapon and then try to gain whatever we need. But this is no way this terrorism is going to help us. Like Mahatma Gandhi said, ahimsa is better. So to terrorize people and to get your means, attain your means will never be good in the long run. Next one, untouchability. Untouchability was prevalent earlier. It was very much in the society, and it was to the extent that people, you say, they were segregated so much that even if you have to go to a
wash and replace it. And also they cannot sit in the same benches where the other people were sitting. So there was kind of discrimination. The stigma was there for these people. That is, they are not equals. They are lesser than the equals. There were situations where these untouchables, if they come across people on the street, they have to go to one corner of the street, or they cannot walk the same street as others. And even the graveyards for these people were too different. Untouchables had to go through had only one particular graveyard. They cannot go through these streets. They cannot sit and eat here. So many things were imposed on these. But later on, it has come down to a certain extent, mostly because of Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Ambedkar, who were two stalwarts who fought against this untouchable and said this is a very great evil which has to be eradicated from the society. Everybody is equal according to law. Therefore, we have to practice untouchability. practicing untouchability or promoting untouchability, it's an error. It is a very big error. It is an evil that has to be avoided at any cost.
So when you want to say, we can keep saying we have to do this, we have to do that, but we just talking alone is not sufficient. We have to take steps. Whatever you say, this social evil is there, that social evil is there. We have talked about so many social evils. But what is our contribution? If we talk about the social evil, what is your step towards that? What have you done to stop it? That is what we have to see. So when I talk about untouchability, we have to say next what steps we can take to eradicate untouchability. For example, first thing that you should say is education. Education is the key which helps people to understand that everybody is equal. So you have to educate, even spread the awareness about education or the importance of education even among the crowd, the people who are named as untouchables. I should not say untouchables. It should be like the people who are named as. There's nobody, God did not create people as untouchables. We have coined the word and we said these people are untouchables, etc. Somebody is superior, somebody is inferior. We have only created all this discrimination. We have only divided people in the society. So one step to eradicate this is educate. Educate not only those people who are carrying the stigma of untouchability, but also the other people that there is no caste form which is untouchable. It's only in our mind that does not exist. We have to educate people. And then we have to improve the quality of life of untouchables. You have to see that their life also comes up. They come to an elevated position, a position where they are people who can form rules, who are able to contribute to the society. Once their position is elevated, when they are people who come in a position of forming the rules, then probably the society will look upon them and then will not consider them as untouchable. And also, a lot of propaganda has to be taken up by the government to say that untouchability is a crime. Make the society understand that it is not because of untouchability or the way you discriminate people and say they are inferior to you will not lead to any harmony in the society. When people say this person is untouchable and an inferiority complex keeps on building, so probably once again they might revolt at a later stage so it will lead to unrest. So the government has to take steps to make a propaganda that there's no such thing as untouchability. And also we have to abolish the caste system fully. Why we have this caste system of this person belongs to this person belongs to this? No, a person has to be treated for what he is, what he has created after being born, for place that he has carved for himself in the society. What I am contributing to the society, I should be judged on basis of that. I should not be judged on basis of what caste I belong to. By birth, I belong to some caste. I not by that I should not be superior, by that I should not be inferior. So if this caste system we are able to abolish this, probably we can also bring an end to this untouchability which has been female feticide or infanticide. Then I talk about dowry and domestic violence. Everything, it is only the against women. So the first step, because when you like people say, when you educate your mother, the family is educated. You educate a woman, she spreads the education to the family. Then the society, the family becomes better, the society becomes better, and the nation also becomes better. So we have to stop it. Now, how do you stop all this? Once again, the question arises: who will stop? It is not who. Let us be the first person. Let me be the first person to say that I should say no to any atrocity that is committed against a woman. So education is not only for the society. You should be aware of yourself. Like you should educate yourself that these things I cannot do against a woman. These are wrong. And also you should be like, you cannot blame any girl for what has happened to her. For example, the Nirbhaya case that we had in New Delhi. I don't know if you remember.
But let me just say a few words about this Nirbhaya incident. It happened that when a girl, when she was traveling in the bus along with her male friend during the night in Delhi, she was abused by people in the bus. That is, some of them who were traveling, the co-passengers and the bus conductor and driver. And she was physically abused, raped, and top of it, she was thrown away from the bus. She was lying on the ground, and nobody came there to help her. That was the Nirbhaya case. And after the case, when she later on, she died even after acute treatment. She was airlifted to Singapore. Lot of treatment was given to Nirbhaya, but in spite of it, she died. But there was a comment in the media saying that she should have traveled in the night at 11 o'clock with her male friend. But that is, even if she travels at the night, that should not have been committed to her. That is what I'm trying to say. You cannot blame a girl or a woman for whatever evil is happening against her. You cannot say you are the cause. It happened to you, because of it, because you are like this, it happened to you. That particular step, we should be aware. We should start respecting womanhood. You are a man or a girl, whatever it is, you have to respect womanhood. The women should be proud that I am a woman. I should be happy. You should feel that. And the men also should understand womanhood, and they should praise womanhood. Unless we form a society where the womanhood is praised, we will not be in a very harmonious, or will not be in a peaceful society. And we should empathize. Empathize is nothing but, earlier itself I told you, empathy is feeling from other person's point of view. I'll explain this empathy with a small example. Once again, the flood situation that I want to say. In 2015, when there was a flood, food packets were dropped from air. And there was a particular colony where it was fully flooded, and the residents were standing on top of the terrace only because they couldn't go. Their house, first floor and ground floor, was flooded. And near the colony, there was a slum, and some people, small children were there, who were used to all the difficult situations. And whenever the food packets were dropped, they used to collect the food packets. And you should note here, they didn't take the food packets and they didn't eat the food from them. They took the food packets and gave it to those people, residents in the flats. And when somebody asked, why are you doing it? You have not had food, why don't you eat? And the answer given by those children was very beautiful. They said, we are used to this. We have gone through hunger, but they don't know this hunger. They don't know this feeling. So we thought we should give it to them. That is empathy. Because you know how hunger, you are able to understand other person's difficulty. So you should have this empathy in you. You should empathize with other person. So when a girl or a woman has faced some difficulty, you should empathize. Think from other person's point of view and try to understand their problem, and then you should try to give a solution. So you should empathize with that person. And then you should teach all the children from the small age. You have to teach children that violence is not the answer to any problem. You cannot solve anything through violence. So when you keep on educating, then what happens? It will be perfect from that small age. From as a kid, when you educate, it stays there in the brain, and the person will not commit any atrocity against women in the future. And then you have to when you see something around you, you see a situation where a person, a woman has been abused, you should raise a voice. You should say, go against. You should go with the person who is being oppressed, and then you have to give your voice against a person, and then you should support the person and say, she is being abused, and you should bring the authorities to this and say, this situation is happening here. Please come and solve it. You should have that guts. You should have that strength. You should have it in you to go to the society or the people in authority and say, yes, a crime is being committed here. Please come and take the action. It is not that you should go inside and do. At least you can bring it to the notice of the authorities who can do something. So this also has to be done by each one of us. And then whenever you see in media certain things which are being propagated against women, we should also speak against it and say, no, this particular thing is wrong. Whenever you see some pictures or advertisements which are saying something against womanhood, we should be having us to say this is wrong. For example, in my view, if I say, there are people who can say, whenever the Fair and Lovely advertisement came, there were a lot of people who objected against the Fair and Lovely, because They said the beauty of a woman does not lie in the physical beauty. And your Fair and Lovely advertisement shows that if you are fair, you are beautiful, then only you can attract. But the beauty of women lies inside. What she is, what her character is, that is what is the inner beauty. That part of it, no media, no product that doesn't advertise. So many of them objected against this advertisement. So we should also speak against the media whenever something goes, say it is something atrocity or something against women who is being propagated on media. We should also raise against and say, stop, this is not correct. So with the end of this, we have come to the 5th unit. We have finished the social evils. Like I said, I have not talked much about the 4th unit, which is your environment, because already EVS you know. So what is the connection between the environment and us? What is an ecological balance? What is the interdependence? How we have to coexist, etc. You will study earlier. Thank you.